Hello everyone and welcome to Blaugrana Everything, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another video where we're going to be looking at FC Barcelona's transfer business. We're also going to be talking about Ilkay Gundogan's presentation because he's finally been unveiled as an FC Barcelona player, and there was a bit of the whole interview thing, where he gets to talk, answer questions, all that kind of stuff. We'll go over some of the stuff which he did say, and we're also going to get into something which is going to be maybe a little bit of a thing going forward, looking at the fact that Vitor Roque has of course been officially unveiled and all that kind of stuff, announced rather, as a Barca player, but we can't have him yet until at least January of 2024. So that means that it's going to be a lot of looking at how well he's doing while he's still at Atletico PR. So we're going to be on Vitor Roque watch, and this will be the first time we do that, so it'll be pretty interesting to do all of that. And of course we'll also look at a bit of some, I would say, updates in as far as the squad is concerned, including one very odd, or should I say curious, story that I've seen regarding Joules Kounde and Aurélien Tchouameni of Real Madrid. That's right, two rival players. I wonder what it could be about. Anyway, if this is your first time tuning in, please do feel free to do the whole like and subscribe business. We're almost at 4K, guys, which is crazy for me, I think. So maybe we will reach 4K by the time I upload this, in which case if we have, thank you very much. And anyway, enough of all that, let's go straight ahead, and I think we'll start by talking about Ilkay Gundogan, who's finally been presented as an FC Barcelona player. So it's more or less the usual kind of stuff we've seen in as far as these presentations go for FC Barcelona players, where he's going to have a bit of kicking the ball around, juggling it, and he's going to play with the kids. They always do a little rondo where they play with the kids. And there's of course the moment where they go up on a stage with Mateo Alemany and of course Joan Laporta, and go ahead and just give a few of their thoughts, answering questions here and there. And there were some questions that Gundogan was asked which I thought were a bit odd, maybe a bit, I would say, clickbaity, for lack of a better way of putting it. Like they were just trying to bait him into giving a quote, because there's this one time where someone asked, what exactly did Manchester City lack for you to stay there, which it's kind of, you could see how it's a shady kind of question, maybe sleazy even. And I liked his response though, because when his response was that it's not so much that Pep or Man City lacked, it's like he had put it, he knew Pep Guardiola well for 7 years, but he's the type of person who wants challenges and to constantly improve himself. And of course, looking at the fact that he had already kind of done it all. Manchester City won everything, including the Champions League, and that's, I thought, pretty classy response, unlike probably the more sleazy stuff which whoever the person was still was expecting, to throw shade like, oh, City lacked ambition, or City lacked, good weather, which it's probably the easiest one to pick on, right? This terrible weather in Manchester. But anyway, speaking about the fact that he had won the Champions League with Manchester City, he was of course also asked about that and about winning the Champions League potentially with FC Barcelona, to which he did say that he was very motivated and that would give him the strength to be part of Barcelona's comeback on a European level. And he also did say, thanks to Xavi, we're seeing how the club is building a very positive foundation. They balance the game and with some bases to succeed again in Europe. So Gundogan very much of the opinion that Barca can once again succeed in Europe. And when he was asked about his idols for FC Barcelona, we had what was, I thought, for me the most interesting quote from this entire interview, which is when he said that I remember Ronaldinho, although he's very different from me. I also of course admired Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, and when you have an idea of football, you value the criteria of these players. And here's the part of the quote which I particularly like. So he's saying, I think that these types of players like Busquets, they're silent, and I'm a pretty similar player. I want the team to win, even if sometimes you're in the background. I recognize these types of players and I value them because I am like that too. It's reassuring to hear that, because of course of the personality and the kind of player that we've lost in Sergio Busquets, leaving to join Inter Miami, where he's been unveiled, by the way, and they apparently mistook him for Alvaro Arbeloa. But anywho, it's interesting to hear that, encouraging to hear that, because of course we've lost that kind of personality And Gundogan is basically saying, like, me and Busquets, yeah, like, me and bro are kind of similar in that respect. So, that was pretty nice. Now, apart from Ilkay Gundogan being finally presented today, that's not the only bit of transfer, business or transfer updates that we have from FC Barcelona. Because first and foremost, it seems that, talking about Busquets, by the way, his successor is definitely going to be Oriol Romeu. According to Mr. Hugo himself, Romeu to Barca is basically a done deal, and he's going to be joining Barcelona for a fee of 4 million euros. And in exchange, Girona are also going to be getting Pablo Torre on loan for a season. Now, it's also being said Girona were trying to initially get Nico Gonzalez on loan, but it would appear Nico has something of an offer from Porto, and also Nico wants to participate in Barcelona's preseason in the USA, hoping that maybe, he could change Xavi's mind with some great performances there, kind of like we saw Alejandro Balde do last season. So we'll keep an eye, of course, on that situation with Nico, whether or not he's going to be playing for Barcelona next season, or if he is indeed going to be playing for FC Porto. But much like Pablo Torre will be going out on loan, another player who will be leaving Barcelona on loan for another Liga club, this one being Las Palmas, is Julian Araujo. He is, of course, the right back who Barcelona signed from the MLS just, in January. Hasn't kicked a ball in an official match for Barcelona, and he's going out on loan, of course, to Las Palmas, simply because the coaching staff doesn't quite believe that he is ready yet, that he's at that level yet. So he will be joining Las Palmas, and this is with him coming fresh off of being crowned a CONCACAF Gold Cup winner with Mexico. Just on Sunday night, they beat Panama by 0-0. And he's now going to be partaking in FC Barcelona's USA preseason tour, is what that means. So, he's off straight to Las Palmas, and he'll be there for a season. Hopefully, he can make the kind of progress that Barcelona want to see. Otherwise, I'm guessing they're probably just going to sell him to Las Palmas, which is quite a likely outcome, to be completely honest with you. So that's basically as far as updates go for Barcelona. We're still waiting for the Clement Longley deal to go across the line, him being sold. And we're still waiting to see what's going to happen as well. Maybe with one of the forwards like Ferran, although right now it's looking like there's not going to be any changes in Barcelona's forward line, which is part of the reason why Victor Roque isn't going to be coming this summer. And speaking of Victor Roque, we can talk quickly about him and just exactly how he's doing at the moment, because it might be a bit of an understatement to say that he's low-key kind of on fire at the moment right now, for an 18-year-old as well. Okay, just keep that in mind. He's now scored most non-penalty goals in the Brazilian League this season with 8, and on top of that he has 2 assists. So at the rate at which he's going, he's not even yet halfway through the season and he's already scored 8 goals. This could be looking like a pretty prolific season that we're about to see from the youngster, and we're just going to be checking in on him every time that he has a good performance, or anything noteworthy happens. We might not mention it every time he scores, but just generally whenever anything noteworthy happens with him, we'll be getting back to that. We'll be having a little Vitor Roque watch going on here. And finally, to kind of close this off, there's two pieces of news that we have. One is regarding Ilkay Gundogan, and the other is, of course, what I had mentioned earlier about Tchouaméni and about Joules Kounde. So, with Ilkay Gundogan, basically, it's being reported that so far he has, put it in the words of somebody else, caused good sensations at Barca. During the first week of training, he has surprised with his physical strength and power, especially in actions in the air, although he will have to work on tactical, technical, and positional aspects. Now, I don't know if it's just me, because I've been watching football for a very, very long time now, and I've been hearing people talk about certain types of players, certain ethnicities. Usually when it's somebody who's of African descent, you're going to hear a lot about great athleticism and physical prowess and strength and power and all of that, and that seems to be the case once again here with Ilkay Gundogan, and of course is lacking with the tactical and technical stuff, and all the in-between the ear stuff, the brainy stuff, the brainy side of the game, which, to be honest, I find it a bit kind of tired and old whenever I hear that, and maybe even a tad bit, that word, But anywho, I don't know. It's just like you never hear them talk about players like, Samuel Eto'o, like Ansu Fati, like Seydou Keita, like Eric Abidal, players who were very, very clever with their movement on the pitch, players who excelled at understanding the tactical stuff, who has, breathtaking technique and great positional awareness as well, Someone like Alejandro Balde as well. You don't really hear people talk too much about that side of their game. It's always just, he's so physical, he's so powerful, he's so fast, so led, and just, it gets old. So I'm trying to say here, right? It gets old. Anywho, something which isn't old and it's quite new, I would say, is the trend that we're seeing with a lot of players when it comes to consulting mental health experts to help them. And that's really where this Joules Kounde and Tchouaméni story is coming from now. This source, do bear in mind, isn't one that I would say is reliable or anything. It's coming from a site called Sportskeeda, which for me that just sounds like Amigos adlib. But anywho, they're reporting that Kounde and Tchouaméni have, during the off-season, been seeing a neuroscientist to improve their mental conditioning. So this neuroscientist, Ash Parker of Neurovision, was apparently recommended to them by their physio for the French team. So, I'll link the story if you want to really have a read and all that kind of stuff. But it's just it was a pretty interesting piece of news that I stumbled across, and I just wanted to share it here as well. Anyway, aside from that, thank you if you did listen to all of this, and if you did listen to all of this, do hit that like button as well, pretty please, and leave a comment as well. Let me know your thoughts on all of these updates, the presentations from Gundogan. Did I mention, by the way, that Joan Laporta just whipped out a birthday cake for Gundogan's wife, which he presented to her because it was her birthday? So yeah, him and his whole family, they were all out there, okay? It was a family presentation, and it was cute. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Have a great day, and Forza Barça.